Hey folks, and welcome to Truck King. This is the Chevy Silverado ZR2 Bison, and today it is fit with the 3-liter inline-6 Duramax diesel under the hood. We've never tested this exact configuration before, so I'm excited. In this video, we're gonna tow 7,000 pounds, we're gonna head off-road and find the mud, so make sure you stay tuned. Let's start it off with the walk around, and we have to look under the hood. So there is the 3-liter inline-6 turbocharged diesel. It is now making 305 horsepower, 495 pound-feet of torque, and that is sent through a 10-speed automatic. And I say now making because the power was actually boosted here since they launched this engine. Now, another thing Chevy did is when this engine first launched, it was only available in certain trims, but they have now added it to more trim levels, including this ZR2 Bison. So the diesel was so popular that they just kept pushing it out to more and more trucks, and that's why we have what we have today. Now, when you go for the Bison package, it's really all about protection. It's really all about making sure you can go off-road and not damage anything, and it starts up front with a big beefy steel bumper. You see these huge steel recovery points. I love seeing that up there. And then, of course, a full skid plate package underneath. And I'll stop here just to let you know, we recently tested a ZR2 Bison here on the channel. I compared it to my truck, Big Green. So make sure you go watch that video because we put it up on the rack in that video. We looked underneath. We're not going to do that today, but if you want to get a better look of all the components underneath, go check out that video. So as we roll back, a set of 33-inch Goodyear Wrangler Territory tires, a nice set of rubber right there, and we are going to test them out in the mud. And behind them are those Multimatic DSSV dampers. The real magic with these is that they are position sensitive, so they're providing a different level of damping depending on how they're being driven. But unlike other brands, these are not active shocks. This is a fully passive suspension system. It just works with valving inside of that shock, which is cool. Coming down the side, we do get a true rock rail there. Once again, in the name of protection, this thing is all about making sure you're not dinging anything up off-road. As we get around to the back, you can see the tires again. You are getting the Bison stickers here on your rear quarter panels just to set it off. And this truck has a factory lift as well, so it's sitting taller than sort of a standard Silverado. And then when you get back here, yeah, you get your standard Silverado bed. I harp on this a lot, but I'm going to bring it up again. The tie downs in GM beds are excellent. You're getting 3 separate tie downs in each corner, so you really do get a lot of different heights. I appreciate that. We have LED lighting in this bed, a 400-watt plug as well, and then GM's multi-flex tailgate. So if you want a massive step, you open it up like so, drop the big gate. What the hell? There it goes. Struggled for a second, figured it out. And look at this, a great big step, even comes with a handle. So yeah, I appreciate that. And as tailgates go, we're kind of in the, the world of tailgate wars where everyone has a fancy tailgate. I do think the General Motors option has the most uses to it. There's so many different ways you can configure it. If you want a little table, you can use that. If you want a load stopper, you can use that. So yes, I definitely like this tailgate. When it comes to towing and payload, this configuration of truck is only good for 8,700 pounds of towing and just over 1,000 pounds of payload, which isn't a great payload number, but it's an off-road truck, so that's always the trade-off you're going to make. And I know those numbers because of the excellent information sticker that GM still puts up there on the door jamb that tells you the specific numbers tied to this truck. So yeah, that's it for the walk around. Let's hit the trail now, see how it does off-road. But before we go off-road, a little behind the scenes for you here, folks. Owning a trail system means maintaining a trail system. And yeah, we got this big cedar down back here on the left hook. We've been sort of avoiding it with a few vehicles, but the time has come. We got to get it out of here. So that means chainsaw and Bit of hard work. We'll move it out and then we'll run the trail. There you go, folks. So some sweat equity went into today's video, but take a look. That trail's ready for a truck. Let's do it. All right, now the time has come to head off-road. So first of all, let's put her down right into 4 low and really feel the torque out of this diesel combined with the gear reduction. So there, now we have it in 4 low. We also have drive modes here. So you have off-road mode and then you have terrain mode. In terrain mode, Chevy offers a 1-pedal driving system. So essentially it's always braking for you. All you have to run is the throttle. We'll try that out in just a moment. For now, we're off-road mode, 4 low, nothing locked up, and here we go. And if you are wondering, we're just going to run the left hook today because as I mentioned off the top, we just had a Bison out here on the trails recently. I can tell you it will complete all of these trails pretty easily. But I do want to feel this diesel. So we're running the left hook and yeah, you feel it immediately. Like I said, I'm in 4 low, so I have the gear reduction and then the torque. I barely had to touch the throttle. I just barely feathered it and it just crawled right through that hole. So you get that low end grunt combined with your 4 low and man, it feels like this thing will creep through anything at the slowest of speeds. And now we roll on into the deep section. There's actually not a ton of water here right now, but it has left these big muddy ruts exposed. So far feeling good, and yeah, I'm gonna do my best to just crawl through here. No momentum, unless I feel like I really need it. But so far it's just crawling along. Definitely kissed the skid plate there, dragged the belly a little bit. These ruts are getting deep. But yeah, so far, just creeping through. Oh, a bit of slip there. I gotta give it a bit of speed. I hate being in these situations without any speed at all. So yeah, creeping up now. And the hill is covered in leaves, and we've had a problem in the past with slick leaves. So here we go, transition from pit to hill. Yes, nice. So I did have a moment there where traction control seemed to cut my power a little bit, but then it sort of rolled it back on. And again, that was essentially drama-free without very much momentum needed whatsoever. Yeah, you know what? The ZR2 was already a great off-road truck. Add in the fact that the suspension is really taking care of me. I'm not getting knocked around out here at all. And then we have all the protection from the Bison package, which is, you know, actually going to help you to make sure your truck stays in one piece, but it's also just peace of mind. I know that I have all those skid plates down there, so when I am, you know, dragging on the mud or something like that, I'm just not that worried about doing, you know, critical damage to my vehicle. So yeah, nicely done, Bison. And now, folks, I've switched it over to terrain mode. So my foot is off the brake right now, but it's holding me. So now I'm just touching the throttle, not touching the brake. And again, I just barely feather it. And yeah, it's actively grabbing the brakes. And then if I lift off the throttle, it comes to a stop, even on this hill. So this is sort of a different form of hill descent control because I still am giving it throttle, but essentially all that is telling the truck to do is sort of release the brakes. Either way, it's super controlled. This is mimicking 2-foot driving, which sometimes in off-roading is necessary or is helpful. And yeah, this is doing that without the need for actually having 2 feet on the pedals. It's really cool, man. I do like it. It's another one of these systems where I'd say, you know what, go out there and try 2-foot driving yourself, because there's something really rewarding about doing it, but you can't argue with the engineering that's going on here. It's doing a great job. Now dropping into the back side of the left hook here, and these ruts are actually getting deeper all the time too. They didn't used to be this deep. But still barely any slip out of these territories. Creeping through this swamp. And yeah, so I'd say coming through here, the biggest difference I feel to the gas engine is that this whole section, I just put my foot sort of at one position, just a little bit into the throttle, and the torque from this engine is so good that it's just dragging me over things. In a gas-powered truck, I do feel like I would have to be modulating the throttle more. I would have to be sort of, yeah, not necessarily hitting things with more momentum, but anticipating a little bit so I could get that engine sort of revved up before I hit an obstacle. The diesel sort of does away with all of that. So overall, feels great. Might feel a smidge heavier in the front end. I'm kind of, that's coming over some of these things, that you got a bit more weight over that front axle, but I can't say that it's really enough to affect the performance of the truck. So I'll confirm what you probably already know. ZR2 Bison off-road is excellent, and the diesel just seems to make it better. Now, though, this is what the truck is really designed for. Let's go do something that maybe it's not perfectly designed for, and that is towing a heavy trailer. We're going to hook up 7,000 pounds and see what happens. All right, Dad, here we are towing now with this ZR2 diesel, and we are pretty close to the limit today. The limit on this truck as it sits is 8,700 pounds, and we're towing 7,000 pounds. We are pushing it, and immediately you understand why these off-road trucks are limited this way. It has everything to do with the suspension. When we drop that on there, it's squatting pretty good. The nose is noticeably higher from behind the wheel. So yeah, you can't get around the fact that if you want your suspension to work well off-road, generally that means it's not going to tow the greatest, or as good as sort of the standard suspension would.
Pardon me.
And I'm feeling it. I mean, usually this truck is super smooth. That's sort of the hallmark of this suspension and the DSSV dampers. But out of that back end, I'm kind of feeling everything going on with the road. I'm feeling every little bump. And that's because it's not all the way at the end of its travel, but it's close. It's close to being all kind of used up, right? Are you feeling that?
Yes. But on the other hand, I got to say, you know, in some ways what you're describing is kind of like, who cares? And I'll tell you why I say that. Because if you buy this truck, you're buying it for the off-road capability. Because if you're buying a truck to tow, you don't buy this truck.
Fair enough, if that's your primary concern.
So, therefore, I'm going to say if you buy this for its off-road capability, but you tow with it sometimes, and the towing is a little less than perfect, well, then you accept that, because that is the drawback.
Yeah, and honestly, the towing from behind the wheel, even though I am feeling all those things, it's not bad, it's not sketchy, it's not like I'm having to put that much more input into the wheels. I feel the steering is a little bit light, again, sort of reacting to the road more than I'm used to, but overall, it's still a fairly kind of calm towing experience. And I would also say to anybody with this truck specifically, towing over 5,000 pounds, get an equalizing hitch. That's going to go a long way to leveling out that attitude, and if we had it, I wouldn't be worried about it at all.
Yeah, well, I don't worry about it the way it is. However, you're right. It would level out the attitude of the truck. It would stiffen up the connection, and there you go. Because honestly, somebody who owns this may very well be, you know, also an RVer or a camper, right? Because you're going off-roading on the weekend and you're taking your trailer with you. So there is certainly a case to be made that it does need to tow reasonably well.
Right, and I'd say it's doing exactly that. And then now we can move on just to the engine, and you know what, I'm going to state the most obvious thing in the world. This diesel is good for towing, like every diesel has been since the beginning of diesels. The low-end torque is incredible, you know, power off the line, it just feels really, really good. This truck has an exhaust brake built in as well, which isn't the greatest, but it's not terrible. It is nice to have. So, yeah, you just have nothing to complain about with the powertrain either. Smooth shifting.
And the fuel economy.
Yeah.
I mean, never mind that it's really, really decent when it's empty, but when you tow, yes, it's going to double, but it won't triple like a gas engine will.
Sure. And yeah, empty, we've been seeing numbers right around 10 liters per 100 kilometers, actually a little bit less. And even though this is just a tiny bit of towing so far, we're currently registering 15 liters per 100 with the trailer, which again is really reasonable to think we're towing 7,000 pounds. So yeah, man, it's a good package. And then obviously the truck is great off-road too. So you know what, Chevy didn't chase Ford with the Raptor. You know, the Raptor R still kind of sits alone in this crazy echelon of super trucks. Chevy hasn't gone there, but what Chevy has done here is they've made such a usable, everyday, solid off-road truck. And that might be more important to more people.
Well, I agree, because it's rare that you know, because a Raptor R is a toy. You know, if that is your daily driver, well then I don't know what to think about you. You know, because, and then if you got that kind of money that you can afford to buy that just as a toy, well, obviously Ford has proven that there is a market for that. But man, I've always been that guy who's like, I want the all-around truck, because I don't know on any given week what I'm going to be doing or what I want to do, and I don't want to ever be like, yeah, well, that doesn't work for this truck.
Right. Yep, and that's what this feels like. All right, let's test the 0 to 62 miles per hour or 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. Come to a stop. We're in tow haul mode. Ready, Dad? On go. 3,
2, 1, go. Oh, smoke show.
It laid a good amount of rubber. Okay, coming up. 60.
80. 90. 100. That's not bad. 16.34.
Yeah, nice. And again, like, it takes a beat off the line to feel that torque, but when it hit, we laid a decent amount of rubber.
Well, that's it.
So I probably could have even feathered the throttle a little bit. But yeah, you know what? What I noticed there is not only is the torque good, a 16.4 feels fairly decent. It's a diesel. It's so drama-free. In a gas engine, it just, you know, screams up to red line, and sometimes the shifts are more pronounced. This is just such a quiet, calm experience getting up to that speed.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see, because now you can see how the diesel fares against the gas motors on the leaderboard.
Well, folks, we have come to the end of this video. Now, I think you saw it here. I think we really demonstrated what this truck is all about. Off-roading, first and foremost, is its focus. And then if you do need to hook up a pretty heavy trailer, it's gonna do an okay job. So yeah, that's it for this one. Now, please, you guys also have to let General Motors know what you think of the 3-liter diesel. So drop down in the comments, leave your comment down there, because, oh, they are watching. And as always, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member, and then come right back here to the channel to see what we're testing next. See ya.